Welcome back, guys. Sorry for delaying last episode, but thank y'all for being patient and hopefully watching anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out because both, what was it, Medalist and Free Rin?
No.
Or no.
JJK and Free Rin. Yeah, oh my god. And
went on break.
Yes.
So, ended up working out anyway.
Yeah, and in a weird way, it's like, what were we going to talk about anyway that week? Like, life. Y'all don't want to hear that. But anyway, we're back. Welcome back to Seasonal Spiels. I'm Quincy.
I'm Audrey.
We love a certain show.
One Piece.
But we also cover other anime.
Delicious in Dungeon.
Apothecary Diaries.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
So lovely. We like to spiel.
Exactly.
Covering seasonal anime, this is Seasonal Spiels. So, we're back to the same 4 shows, the same bangers, okay? So, originally, since there's a lot to talk about, I say a lot, but we each have 2 episodes of Medalist and Trigon, as opposed to 1 for JJK and 1 for Free Rin. We were like, oh, we're going to spend more time on the ones that have 2 episodes.
Right.
That's a lie for me. Medalist is great, but I don't have that much to say. JJK, even though it's only 1 episode, gosh, do I want to speak about it.
It's always good.
It's always good. Okay, starting off, as I spiel, as usual. I know I say this to death, but I truly mean this. This episode, how it started with Higuruma's backstory, is so cinematic. And
it's
just,
really...
I don't know how to describe how... Yes, people praise JJK, like, calling games so interesting. It's like getting invested in, like, actually building, blocks to clearly start the fights, which I assume is happening now.
Yeah.
Because we live up, we end up on a big cliffhanger, fight-wise, I guess.
Yeah.
But what I actually feel, like, coming into JJK is... I do like the story, I do like the world, I like the characters. However, I don't think, what's going to happen in JJK next? I think, how are they going to show me what happens in JJK next?
It's really like, how are they going to interpret what the manga's laid out?
Yes.
It's so
I'm
good.
like, I don't even care to find out what's anime only. I'm like, they're doing such a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Why should I care?
Exactly.
Like, the people who are like, they didn't build a car in the UGU to fight. I'm like, oh no, it still looks fantastic.
Right. And you still get the idea, because, like...
You still get the idea because he jumps through the car. And
right, like he's strong, we know. Like, you don't need specific thing.
We know he's strong. We can see Yuta is strong. Like, we don't need... I feel like the car is like, set dressing? Mm-hmm. Which I can understand being, like, impactful, especially in JJK, where you don't really see them using their environments that much.
Right.
Unless it's a curse, which doesn't really count, because it's technically just a curse manipulating stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. But, like, at the same time, I'm like, but just, can we time out and appreciate how well they're directing, not obviously the animation's peak, but how well the direction is.
Yeah.
So artistic, so expressive. Mm-hmm. I genuinely do feel like, man, I need them to just make movies. Whoever this director is, hire them for a lot of movies, please.
Put Goso on everything.
Literally, I'm like, thank you for remembering the name.
Yeah.
I looked it up, forgot it. I really appreciate JJK actually settling down in its pacing of like flash.
Yeah.
Like, it was great for the first 2 episodes. I thought it was perfect. Mm-hmm. I think it needed to settle down in episodes 4 and 5, but not episode 4, 5 and 6. I think it needed to like give up a little breathing. It worked a little in 6 because there was a fight, so the pacing can be fast. I was fine with that. It was worse in 5, and as y'all know, when I've discussed it. Mm-hmm. But I really feel like last episode was really like trying to settle you into like not a lull, but like really trying to amp up tension by going slower, and I appreciate that kind of carrying through into like starting with Higuruma's backstory.
Right. I
appreciate that because obviously it's a little fast paced, but like
it gives you time to like absorb who Higuruma is before he's like technically, I mean not before he's introduced to the story, but like before he's introduced to the characters that we know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Literally the perfect way to phrase that. Because, like, if you just threw in and were like, Higuruma's in a bathtub. In the theater.
Like, what? Okay.
It wouldn't give you the impact of, like, it's a modern sorcerer who's killed people, which, like, it would just be more of a fact rather than, like, understanding, this man has, like, broken mentally because of all, the stuff he's had to deal with by choosing to be a Defense Slayer in a country that basically always persecutes someone who is... not acquitted. I just want to say acquitted. I was like, that's the opposite. Indicted.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, 99.9%. They love arresting and just not say anything about it, which, might be better or worse than the US, which people can get away scot-free even though they did it. Anyway. Opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Good and bad.
Either way, he's miserable in his job.
Really, and it sucks to see because you can see, like, he's really actually persevered a lot longer than I think most people reasonably would, being despised by their clients. And I appreciate them actually focusing on that, and the fact that, like, in the past, obviously many cases where it's like it's worn on him, but he's always had the mentality they're at their wits' end, it's their lives that are being destroyed, it's okay. But then, like, knowing that he went into a trial after winning the previous and it got appealed by the state, or I say state, but, like, I'm using U.S. terms because that's what I know for law. Sorry, don't know what Japan says, but I'm assuming the state, the government, right? The state appealed, and then it was like, oh, we're not presenting anything to you, but you're gonna be guilty anyway, because it can't be reasonably assumed the missing person did it. It can't be reasonably assumed that with all the evidence this person did it either. Yeah, he's guilty for life. Sure.
All right.
And that frame on the eye, I was like, oh. Yeah. And then, you know, everything goes insane after that, which is crazy. But also,
just hitting the gavel.
Hitting the gavel. But also, as a side note, the voice actor they chose took me a while to place it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know this voice actor for sub, the Japanese voice actor. I was like, I know this deep voice, I know this. And I was like, I was going insane. I was like, so I know it technically from being Gyome from Demon Slayer, the big stone Hashira, because I've actually seen that performance. He's also Gintoki, which is probably arguably more popular, but I don't watch Gintama.
Fair.
So, like, but I was like, I knew the voice. I was like, I knew it. So props to him. Don't know the name, but I could.
Yeah.
I figured it out. And those are the only 2 roles I know of. So, I'm sure there's more. But that was about it. So I'm like, oh man, this is a GOAT character. Can we argue? Like, it's been one episode, but, like, one episode of peak.
Yeah. I don't know if we want to get into this now, but, like, his domain expansion.
Oh, what a way to end off. Okay, first off, so excited to see.
Yeah.
So excited to see. Makes sense that he would kind of pop it now. Because to me, if I'm understanding what I know very vaguely, he also did that in the courtroom, maybe? At least that's the implication I would get, based on the fact that he also slammed a gavel.
Hit the gavel and then,
But also, the second reason I think that is, well, how else would you have complete domain to enact justice?
Right.
Without having your own fully operational, 100% correct domain. To enclose people in. But either way, whether that's true or not, using a domain expansion after literally becoming a sorcerer within the past 2 weeks is actually kind of crazy. Like, think about the fact that, only so many can pop their domains because we're not strong enough. Brad just did it.
Yeah, he was like, screw it.
He's like, screw it. I'm insane anyway.
The way that was directed too, not to talk about, like, how well this season is directed, but, like, oh my goodness.
Oh
like,
my gosh,
it's so...
yes.
It's so well done. I kind of forget, like, a lot of the details.
No, go for it.
You have him, like, in the bathtub, and then, like, Yuji pulls out.
Okay, yes, but you know what I love more? The score that plays.
Yes, the score's so good.
The score is so good. Okay.
Because it's got, like,
Yes.
I don't think it's as heavy as, like, death metal, but it's definitely, like, got metal in the backing track.
It's so fitting, because it's like, so unsettling, yet, like, amping up that tension. And you can tell Higuruma's not gonna go with Yuji. You can just tell it's not gonna end well. But what I love is that not only does do the colors change, which is always nice to see. I love a good lighting trick in anime. It just is nice. But I love that the background always changes. Like, when he's talking about swimming in clothes, it's them swimming in a pool from when he's thinking about childhood. When it's talking about justice, it's a pile of books with a little it's just so good. Like, I feel like pose. Yes. But, like, at the same time, not to be mean to JJK's previous seasons, because I know people love the scores. I'm gonna be real. I don't think I've ever noticed a track as much as this. And not to say the other tracks are bad.
No, I know what you mean.
Except for the one where in Hidden Inventory they, like, go to the museum, and then that's later replayed when Gojo, like, becomes psycho and kills Tochi. That track is really pretty, so I noticed it. I was like, this is a really nice track. But other than that, I don't think I've paid, like, during the moment, right? Like, I can honestly be like, oh yeah, I remember, like, hearing that in the background of an episode.
Yeah.
But I've never been, like, not in a rude way, but, like, pulled out of the immersion to notice it.
Yeah. No, it's always, like, I don't know how to describe it either, but, like, because it's not to be mean to the score either. Because, like, obviously, when you go back and re-listen to the score, you're like, oh, this played during this moment. But it's, like, truly, like, it's really cool whenever... I guess the way that I would put it is, like, whenever you're hearing a track in an anime or in a show or whatever, and then you're humming it afterwards, like, it's stuck in your mind. Like, it's not so obtrusive, I guess is what I was gonna say, that it, like, pulls you out of the moment, but you remember it. Yeah. And you have, like, associations with it.
Exactly. Like,
by nature of it being in the show. But
yes. And thankfully it's the good side of this, not the terrible side where you're like, what am I listening to?
No, exactly.
Like, this doesn't fit. So that's always good to see. But I probably should know who did the score. I honestly don't, but
I don't either.
I didn't look it up. I should have.
Because I listened to the score a lot, or the previous 2 seasons, because this one's not out yet, but I don't remember. I
do love just setting up Higuruma. I have heard of him. Because I did read the final few chapters of JJK, so I kind of already know his power, but not really. Let's be real.
So
well, to be fair, the most I knew about his power was being a lawyer, essentially. Anyway, so it's not really that groundbreaking.
Fair.
And frankly, what I do remember, couldn't tell you why it works. So
we'll find out.
We'll find out clearly, because they're gonna have to learn, or Yuji's gonna have to learn to live, obviously, because man has killed 60 people,
right?
Which is crazy to think about. What's also even crazier is that Reggie, wasn't it? It's just talking to Megan, being like, oh yeah, Kenjaku's plans. Do you know? I thought it was Reggie.
The girl?
No.
Oh, the guy in the like, paper? Yeah, I don't know his name. Probably that, though.
He looked like a pillow just exploded on him.
Yeah, I was like watching him talk and I was like, hold up. Hey, can we pause for a second?
Yeah. Can we acknowledge? But here's the crazy thing, though, is the introductory, like, early in the episode of, like, oh, who's gonna bring me a new sucker? He's messing with paper. And so it made me think of, like, I don't know the word. I know it's specific to, like, Japanese culture, is my presumption, I should say, from what I've seen in other anime and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like they put these like strips of paper, I guess, as kind of like well wishes or something, or like protection, like a charm. And it looked like that's what he was messing with, or it could just be receipts. I don't know. So, and I feel like he was messing with them when he was like not clothed, not like literally, but like you got the upper body.
Yeah.
Nothing going on there. And then, then we have the Higuruma flashback, and then when we come back and Megan finds him, he's wearing them. So it makes me curious if that's like a protective armor, even though he looks stupid.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it is.
Anyway, so it's definitely, I feel like this is where JJK hits the ground running. I say this in a way of like, guys, we know it's hit the ground running, but like,
this is where
things start picking up. Because now it's like, we're head to head with Higuruma. Megumi kind of is about to fight Reggie and the girl who apparently his name is Remy, because I did not remember that. You know what I've been calling her? Liar.
Oh, well, yeah. That also worked.
Because it turned out we were kind of right. Like, we were like, between the two, she is definitely the one lying. Right. And she was. Which I found a little surprising, because we get a little backstory with Blondie, whose name I don't remember either, and I don't plan to. And I found it really interesting how much he actually was very self-aware of how, I'm a terrible person, and I should warn Yuji, but I'm just too scared. But I appreciate that, because let's be real, if we were a regular person, well, not really him, because he watched bullies beat people up, but if we were a regular person stuck in this, I probably would also be someone, like, bowing down to better people in order to live, so,
It's realistic.
It's realistic. I like how that he doesn't flip on a dime and warn Yuji. Like, he kind of tries. He's like, are you sure about this? Like, but he's still like, I fear Higuruma. And justifiably so.
Right.
So, yeah. Also, another crazy shot when they were like, when I don't know if it's Reggie or Reggie. Like, my brain says Reggie because American, but you would think it'd be Reggie?
Yeah.
From Japanese? I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Whichever one.
Brain's kind of everywhere because I'm just thinking of everything cool that happened in this JJK episode. But I love when he's like, and Kashimo, the mention of Kashimo, and he's just staring through a hole in the stomach of some guy.
Oh, I forgot about that.
What a shot. So crazy.
They love pulling out shots like the guy in the courtroom where you just see like his glare at Higuruma. It's so good.
It's so good. I'm like, just everything about this episode, like, again, praise the cinematography and direction of the previous episodes, but something about this episode in particular felt like it got more passion to it. And I can't help but wonder if that's because it's like a little more close to home because of how much was dedicated to like a normal job.
Yeah.
Like this is like, this is someone's passion, but they're getting beat down again and again and again and again by the system. Whoops. You mentally broke me. Let me just maybe kill you instead, which we don't really get an answer to. That's something I'm curious about. If only because, I don't know her name, but his assistant, can she live? I hope she lived, if so.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about his... Yeah, I don't know.
She was actually a good person.
Yeah.
Just saying.
She's actually kind of chill. I hope she's okay.
She was super
now that I think about it.
I think one of the most memorable parts of the episode is when he's, like, talking to the guy after the first trial, and he's like, thank you for believing in me. And Higuruma's like, no, it's okay. And she's, like, over there being like, I did work. Praise me.
Yeah, I was here, too.
And I thought that was, like, so cute. Just, like, because I don't know why, because it's just, like, one of those in the background where it's, like, written, like, I did work, not actually verbally. she didn't even get to say the lines, so the voice actor didn't get paid. But, like, at the same time, I'm like, it's just so cute.
Yeah. It's just so sweet.
It's just so sweet. I don't know. I think it's because she's, like, adorable throughout the episode. And then, hopefully alive. But, yeah. Anything else you want to say?
Not that I can think of.
It's okay. I'm going to double check.
It was just so good.
Yes. Oh, right. So, Kenjaku.
Oh, yeah.
What's he actually planning? I'm curious, because what Reggie was saying, I'm just going to say Reggie, because that's what I presume is how you pronounce it. What he was saying made sense. We're like, oh, if he wanted the sorcerer's powers, why is he letting everyone die, right? Like, if you wanted the power of all the sorcerers fighting the colonies, ideally you would want more people fighting to have all that power. But if you're waiting for almost like one person to be left per colony, that's clearly not the goal. So it is kind of interesting, because I don't think Tengen's assessment was bad. Clearly, because it was based on limited knowledge,
right,
and was mostly accurate. So props. But it does kind of bring up the question of like, how are they gonna have to moving forward? Because obviously Higuruma, you want him for the rule, but it does make me wonder if Yuta's gonna find out anything in his colony.
Oh, true.
Because when we flip to him, which I'm assuming is gonna have to happen at some point, it's
right,
just by the nature of, plot. I am kind of curious if Yuta's gonna find out anything else, because it makes me wonder if it's just specific, like, I guess my expectation is Reggie has figured this out on his own, with a bit of, like, help by the fact that Kenjaku probably came in his dream and was like, hey, you staying? Like, obviously that probably is my assumption that happened to everyone, and people stayed, and he was like, cool, here are the rules. Knock it off. So that's my assumption of how he knows Kenjaku, and does kind of knows the game, but also does make me think, well, if Reggie is saying this and not the chick that he hired, then clearly he's also thought this through, not just assumed the base information given to him. And so it makes me wonder, well, can Yuta do the same once he learns from people in that colony? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
We also have the cliffhanger where Kenjaku's talking to people. I mean, talking, we didn't hear anything. It was just subtitled. Which is interesting. I've heard people say that, I guess this is kind of a slight spoiler, but I don't know how, because I don't know how it's going to play out. But I saw comments, like, just online, saying that, oh, it's not the higher ups, like some people are speculating, it's because he's in China and he's speaking Chinese. And I'm like, well, I didn't really see what language he was speaking, and it just looked like a character to me, and I kind of just let it pass my eyes, because I was reading the English subtitle over the character.
Right.
So it very well could have been. I didn't, like, pay attention, and I watched this episode once. So, I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
He's in China, or he's talking to people in Chinese, sure, why not? And it's just some old men in suits. So I wonder why, but we'll find out, I'm sure. I kind of, sounds bad, but I kind of don't care. I'm like, oh, well.
Yeah, it's kind of like not an afterthought, because he is the reason that this is all happening, but I'm more interested to see, like,
everything else. Actually, I'm more interested not to hear it from him, but to hear other people's speculations.
Have them put it together.
Because that's just so much more fun.
Right.
To hear characters, like, I know that sounds boring, but, like, that's what we do in real life, so it's just more fun to see characters be human, rather than be like, oh, it's this, and they're always right. It just makes them seem like a genius, or like plot contrived, which isn't bad, but, like, I'm gonna be real, Megan B's been a goat figuring out her name. Kirara. I knew it was a K. I was like, I can't remember. Kirara. He was a goat figuring that out, which was supposed to be a genius ultra plus move, let's be real. But I kind of want him to, like, use the information Reggie's giving him to figure something out, not just be like, oh, well, it must be this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather see it be pieced together, / have a discussion. Yeah. Because clearly, they're kind of amicable at the moment. Yeah. I mean, she's not happy, but Reggie's fine. Reggie's like, hey, join me. We can be pals. Yeah. We can kill people.
We can chill.
Well, I don't know about that.
No, yeah, but
anyway. But yeah, I do like getting more lore, I guess, about the Cullen games, because I guess it's not really lore. It's definitely more exposition-y than lore, I suppose. Yeah. Because it really has just started. The episode title is literally part 2 of the Tokyo Colony, which we just entered last episode. So, but anyway, I'm excited. Yeah. It's getting close to the end of the season, but I'm excited. Yeah.
I'm excited to see more Higuruma, so.
No, I'm not as an insult to Yuji, but, like, I really want to see Higuruma pull out a... No, I guess it isn't an insult to injury. It's not really an insult to Yuji, because I want Higuruma to pull out all the stops, aka Yuji's good enough to have to do that. So, like, but at the same time, I'm like, but I want to know what happens.
Yeah.
Like, how did these people die? I guess if you're guilty, it's just death.
Yeah.
Which is like, maybe you're the system you hated.
Ooh, that's a good way of thinking about it, actually.
But then again, I don't know how his power works. My assumption is that he's able to see the truth, not... But I don't know. For all we know, Yuji could lie and then work out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But my assumption is just based on his nature and how jujutsu works. Interesting. That he should be able to, like, parse out the truth from lie.
Yeah.
And still use that to find... I still think death is kind of insane.
Yeah.
For the Culling game it works, but... Ordinary law? Oh, I stole a purse and I'm, indicted for, a week. Whoops, death.
Yeah.
Because I didn't steal it. So you know what I'm saying? Like a little extreme for normal cases, but for Culling game, yeah. That's a useful power rather than like, oh no, sentenced to the disclaimer for a week, So I get it. But yeah. Always so,
It always hits.
It always hits, but I also really appreciate them actually. Like, I guess the good thing about the Culling games, even though it does feel very contrived, which, fair enough, it's a story, it's kind of fine if it does sometimes. And that's something I can get into later. What I really like about it is they are using these modern sorcerers actually having their abilities inspired from modern civilization. Because it's not bad to have, like... I guess what I mean is, like, Megami has a Tenshaz, which is inherited supernatural. I say supernatural, but, like, supernatural technique, let's be real. And you have Nobara, who's, like, used nails and hammers and voodoo. But that's inherently still supernatural because it's voodoo-esque, right? It's, like, at least in pop culture, right? That's inherently supernatural. So I really appreciate seeing a lawyer use justice lawyer-esque abilities. That's just always fun to see.
Yeah.
Personally, as a born tax accountant.
No, it is cool.
But yeah. Okay, so Farron. Talked about it a little too long there, but for Farron.
It's fine.
Man, it really it's also pedal is hitting the metal with Farron now.
Ooh.
We got some demons destroying a village in the beginning of the episode, and then, turns out, oh, shocker, first class mages are sent to deal with the problem because the village got wiped out. I say that so it's just like
Another
expected.
day.
It's expected.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I was surprised to see, and I don't remember their names. I had to actually look them up because I was like, I'm going to be saying their names. Otherwise, I'm going to call them Blondie and Brown-haired guy, which gives you nothing.
Yeah.
But Methode and Genau. Genau was an examiner for the first class mage exam from the previous season, which was a goated arc. And he was interesting, I guess. The little insight we got of him was like, these guys are trying to be first class mages. They should expect death, which fair enough. I guess that is kind of the point of the exam. And he was like, yeah, this barrier's nothing, and then Farron destroys the barrier. It's like just like little teases of like who his character is, because he wasn't like the forefront, and he was also an examiner for the first round, which didn't give him much screen time, period, because there wasn't much to do besides wait for them to succeed or not in the challenge. With context, it makes sense, I promise. And then Methode was an examiner who we didn't really see too much of, other than she was powerful, which is great. If you're gonna pass, but you gotta be strong, so it makes sense. So it's nice to see her again with him. It's nice to get a little more characterization. And I really appreciate how throughout the first, I guess, half of the episode, I don't really know timing-wise, but Genau really gets a lot of characterization just from the scene of carrying, like, his friend's corpse.
Oh.
So... village has been destroyed. He killed a demon. That's how we open up. And the demon's like pleading, oh, I have a kid. And he's like, yeah, sure you do. Killed. and
whatever.
He opens the door, but the demon was trying to back into and was like, oh, where's your child? Lie better. I found that really funny. To be honest, I was like, we've heard this before, because demons and Farron just learn talking to deceive. So they do lines like, oh, I have a family, that makes humans hesitate and thus take advantage of them.
Right.
So sorcerers obviously have to kind of be like used to that. And he's like, oh, lie better. Which, fair enough, he's in a destroyed village that we saw being destroyed in like the previous, very beginning opening of the episode. But what I really like is when he finds his friend. I guess it's his hometown, actually. Which is interesting, because he seems very cold walking through the remains, but he might just be numb for all I know. I don't know. It's interesting. He just seems like a logical person, too. But when his friend, like, grabs onto him and is like, he's dying, I really love how he just starts kind of rambling.
Oh.
He's just talking, and it's really nice, because you can tell he's like, this man's gonna die. This is my friend. And so I'm just gonna talk to try and either process it or to, like, let him know he can pass peacefully now.
Oh.
And I really like it because while he's talking, the grip that his friend had just like loosens, and you just and you know, but he keeps talking, he keeps carrying him, and when the body starts falling, he just shifts it up and keeps walking. And I'm like, this is what we needed out of you, because you were cold, but I appreciate it. And so that was really sweet. It gets morbid because he meets up with Methode, and she's like, oh, he's injured, and he's like, yeah, right, he's dead. His stomach rotted, and I'm like, oh, didn't need to hear that.
Yeah, right.
Ugh, can't imagine the imagery. Thank God it's animated. But then as they're talking in the church about their plans, because they've killed the demons in the village, but we'll get more into that, they're like, oh, there's 2 people, mages, they're really powerful, and shocker, Fearon and Fern. Yeah. Crazy. So, Fearon busts in, and they're about to shoot each other down, and I wonder who would win. But they're like, oh, it's just Fearon, and she's like, oh, Fern, come bring Stark in, meet up. Because Fern has also been assigned on this case because they're within the region, and she's a first class mage now. Sorry, I'm used to saying exam. I'm used to saying it because it was a big arc. And so, but what I found, another line I liked is Fearon saying, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to mistake you, didn't mean to attack. I mistook your bloodlust as that of a demon's to Ganao. And I'm like, oh, man is like royally livid up for his hometown. So I'm like, okay, I like getting this small bits of characterization from him, because he really doesn't express much or say anything. He's very, very close to the chest, I think, with his feelings. So that makes sense. Methode is interesting, because then again, a lot of lines hit in this episode for me, because it's really setting up going after the last demon, because they're like, all the ones we killed wouldn't have been able to kill the guards, who were much stronger, but they died instantly from the sword. So we know that demon's still around. So we have that kind of being set up this episode, and then as they're planning, Methode's like, oh, Fearon's so cute, and Fern gets all jealous, like, no, she's not. Well, she doesn't say that, but you can see her pouting, and she's so cute. Right. And Fearon's uncomfortable, thanks, because a little awkward. But I also like how when Fearon's like, oh, so you're Ceri's student to Methode, because she's like, oh yeah, I'm her student now, because that's the elf who's basically established the, not just the exam, but the whole organization of mages now that has the levels of ranking. Does that make sense? Yeah. I'm trying to explain it. I was like, I'm kind of taking this for granted, and I have to explain the hierarchy. But she's basically, she's top, right? She's an elf too, so she's longer than Fearon. So she's a powerful mage. And so Methode is her student now, and so, and because she accepted after passing, and Fern's quickly I turned her down, all proud to Fearon, and I'm just like, oh, I want to picture cheeks. She's just so cute. It's just times like this that I really appreciate, because Fern is usually just stoic. Or complains about Fearon, which rightfully so, because she does have to kind of baby her sometimes, so fair enough. Yeah. You would expect the elf to be more responsible, but is what it is. It's just a gag now, which is fun. But it's just little moments like this that I really find adorable. And then we end up on the cliffhanger of whoa, the demon's still out there, but it's a forward sword wielding demon. Oh. Meaning it has yeah. So obviously, sorry. I hear more than one sword, and I think, ooh, One Piece. Because I think it's sword. I think Zoro. But because Stark and Methode are trying to figure out, well, how did they die? Because it can't have been a single sword. These slashes are weird if you did that style. Right. And so they were like, what if it's 2? And they were like, no, because you still need 1 for defense. They were like, oh, 4. 2 for attack, 2 for defense. That's how you make the slashes. Oh. And then it cuts to this Naga-looking demon with swords and then cliffhanger. Which, fair enough. So it makes me wonder... Obviously, it's a powerful demon, but it does make me wonder how powerful, because you have the 7 sages of destruction, 6 of which are presumably dead. So there is 1. Yeah. Doesn't mean they're the only powerful demons too either, but But if nothing else, I'm reassured because you have Fearon on the case. She's great at taking down demons. Honestly, not to be mean, but I was really hoping it wasn't going to be a 4-sword style. Not because I was thinking that, but when they were saying, oh, it can't be 2-sword. You know what I was thinking? This will make sense for Fearon finance, probably won't make sense to you. I was really hoping it'd be a demon that is so powerful and so precise with its control of magic that it just used a slash of magic to kill them. Oh. Because what Fearon has done in in literally 1 episode, or 2, I guess, in the first season, is my assumption, because I don't know the specific mechanics and I'm anime only, is that I assume she just used raw mana to create, I guess, both a slash and multiple slashes to 1 demon, but also a push against Fern once before. Oh, interesting. Which makes more sense in context, I promise. Yeah. Just bully Fern out of nowhere. But it's that was just obviously not, it was very clear that was not a spell, and that was just raw power, which can let's be real, can only be mana. She's not that fast to punch someone.
Right.
Doesn't make sense for she slash without a sword. So like that was my hope. Is I was thinking, oh, it's gonna be a raw mana attack. No, it's just 4 swords, which like, you know, I guess is cool.
I guess that's fine.
Anyway, it's just me putting my hopes up, but I was really hoping for that. But I guess that's too fancy. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. She's supposed to be able to defeat demons, so like fine. But the last thing is I really am hoping to get more insight on Ganao. Methode is cool and all, but like we don't really have that much connecting her to the village other than she's assigned here with Ganao.
Yeah.
But specifically what she said is she's assigned with Ganao for this case, not only to get experience based on her training with Sari, but also because Ganao himself has said, don't be like me. And she said, quote unquote, he's like the perfect example of what not to become. Which makes me curious because I'm like, is it because he's like kind of logistical and I don't want to say sociopathic because it doesn't seem like that. He was very like care, not in a conventional way, but very caring towards his friend's corpse. So, like, I don't think it's that. I don't think he's so far gone with his emotions.
Right.
But with the bloodthirst and all these comments, it's not like he's a secret demon. I don't think that. But I do think he's kind of become detached from his emotions and from humanity. So I wonder if maybe that's it. Maybe it's, I don't know. I guess my hope is we'll find out what she means by that. Because it's intriguing that someone so powerful and like aware of their station, yet also caring and wishing that these innocents weren't, you know, the ones destroyed and that instead of like the people who actually seek out destruction, such as himself. He says something along those lines in the episode. It just proves he has humanity and emotions. So I'm just curious why he would be a bad example. I wonder. Maybe it has something to do with his magic. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, it was an exciting episode. Don't get me wrong. Just JJK was better. So.
That's fair.
Not a competition, it's just overshadowed everything. Anyway, I'm gonna fly through Melos because it's 2 episodes and I don't want to spend too long on it. So it's finally on Hulu, but it's 4 episodes behind. So a month behind technically because it's episode 2 and currently 6 has just aired. So you can watch it.
You can watch some of it.
You can watch some of it. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know how reliable the translations for the subtitles have been thus far. Usually it's the same. But there have been a few lines I've watched in some of these episodes that I don't really trust. And I'm curious to go back and rewatch them, especially because I'm wondering if maybe some of the words some of the dialogue has been mistranslated. Because there have been many cases where they have a line and I'm like, you could have translated that a little closer. I can tell based on the wording of the Japanese picking up some things that I'm like, I'm pretty sure you have a double meaning. You could have elaborated on that. Yeah. Rather than just being like, sure. You know what I mean? Like, it's a simplified version. So I probably will rewatch once the whole season's out on Hulu. But it's going to be a month after it finishes. So anyway, so technically it's on Hulu now. Woo, I guess, finally.
Yay.
So episode 5 was really good. I guess in terms of like actual numbers, it was 18. Yeah. Had to math for a second. His first season was 13 episodes, so it's 18. Love seeing Tsukasa skate. Spoilers, if you don't mind. Love seeing him backflip. Because here's the thing. He's skating but Yudaka Jun is there skating, and he's like, I have like a real life example to like learn how to jump. I'm going to do it. And so he starts jumping, and Yudaka Jun is also, I'm trying to remember which is his first name. I think it's Jun. I can't remember, so we're just going to move on from that. But he's jumping and letting Tsukasa see more examples, and Tsukasa gets better and better with the jump. Granted, he's only doing 1 rotation, but that's impressive to me, who's never jumped and ice skated before. So, props. And he finally nails it. But then Yudaka Jun is like, can you do a backflip? And he's like, what? And he just does it in front of Tsukasa, and he's like, do it. And so Tsukasa does it successfully on his first attempt, which is even more impressive. And so Yudaka Jun like, you should stop coaching. This here, I recorded you doing it. Take it to an ice show. You can get a job. And he's like, no, I'm sorry, I'm Iori's coach. And then they have like beef about like, your kid won't win.
Right.
And Tsukasa being like, watch. not literally. Yeah. Not at all like that. He's not that confident. He's like terrified the whole conversation. Real. And Yudaka Jun is a lot more antagonistic during the conversation. But it's just kind of funny. So it's setting up this like, hey, prove that your student can beat mine at all in Japan. Which is, for perspective, within a month.
So
that's not a lot of time to like suddenly drive like unrealistically improve and beat Hikaru, who's been the top dog forever. Literally. she's won gold in every event she's done. And June even says as much, like, oh, my goal is to have her follow my path where I won gold in everything I did. Oh. And I'm like, oh. Getting even more a little unrealistic here. No offense. It's a haiku-esque to me, where it's like within realism, but still kind of like out there. Right. But that's what makes it fun. Anyway. So yeah, we have that going on. Episode ends with like Erica's introduction, which is actually kind of cool. So Erica is like the best of the juniors, who are basically the next age group above Inori. She's literally about to enter that group, by the way. She's like, when she turns 12, 13, I don't remember which. One of those, she's in the juniors group, which spans a lot more older people. Yeah. I think it's up to like 16 or something. So it's harder to win, in other words, right? Because you're younger against older girls. Yeah. Just by nature, a little harder based on experience. So we have that kind of going up. But what I love about Erica's introduction is they do 2D skating with her in animation. Like, they animate her 2D, kind of like you were on ice, which isn't bad. It was just a surprise. But it does make me appreciate the 3D more, because you can tell they've actually dedicated more with the 3D than not. So anyway. So Inori's at a training camp where all the girls who were really good in the Chubu block, who are moving on to All Japans, are basically with Rio. And Rio's like, I'll tell you where Hikaru is if you tell me where your coach is. And it's just, I always love the little gag of like, oh, Rio like admires Tsukasa, so he's always like, well, I'm his favorite student. And then Inori gets upset because she's like, no, he's my coach. And so it's just so cute. Yeah. He's just like, you know, the show is very much like, aw, kids. It's just so wholesome. And anyway, so that's funny, but you get the reunion with Hikaru, which teases up episode 6 follows on, or 19 if you want, because now you have the actual training camp. It doesn't last very long, to be honest. It's just like a little quick. It's kind of funny, because you get a little like cute conversation with Inori and talking about her older sister, and Yuriko's like, oh, so you're her sister, no wonder you suck at jumping, and yet are cute. And so you have this like kind of tsundere vibe of like, oh, you're cute but you suck, from Yuriko. And then Inori ends up being like, no, I can jump, I have abs. And she shows her abs, and everyone's like, what? And Yuriko just dies laughing, as I did when I first read the chapter. It's just funny. And of course Inori gets embarrassed. She's like, crap, I gotta do well now. So it's really funny. But anyway, Inori is struggling to nail the triple flip and triple lutz, which all the other girls have mostly down. It's just a case of like, yeah, you don't need better jumps, but if you want to win, you kind of do. Yeah. Because your competition has those jumps. And so if they can score those points, either you do the same or you have to find another way to work even harder to score those points. Right. And by harder, I mean like close to near impossible, because it's just a lot more difficult to make combination jumps that can supersede that. Because not only can they land them, but they can also make combination jumps out of them. So they can give you more points. So it's like, yeah, you kind of need to know them. Or have some other way of getting more points somehow, which isn't impossible, but at the same time, you can't not try to make more difficult jumps, because they just naturally have a higher base point value. So anyway, that's kind of being set up, which I'm not sure how far they're going to go. My assumption is that this season's going to end literally about to start All Japan's. That's just my assumption, because we're about to start the training arc. Actually, this episode kind of does, because Tsukasa's like, hey, to help you nail these jumps, and because we're running out of time, because you got gold, I was able to get a specialty jump coach to come help you. And so that ended this episode, which another VA where I was like, I know this voice. Because the jump coach, his voice actor sub guys, is Tanjiro and Okuro. So I was like, oh my god. And he's a babyface character. I say, no, not babyface, but like youthful. Man is 30 and typical anime looks like he's a teenager. So, you know, what can you do? Anyway, so that's starting out. But I do think these 2 episodes are just, if you want to see Tsukasa do a little bit of skating, it's really fun. Because now that he knows how to jump in Inori's practice, he jumps. He skates. Fun. And it's really cute because you have this whole gag where he's like, how did that help? Like, I did it. And she's like, thanks, and skates away. But then you cut and he's like disappointed. He's like, oh, I guess that made her feel worse. And she's just like, hold it in. Like, I love that he did this, but I can't be too excited or he'll be embarrassed. It's just funny. Aww. They do that gag that I'm like, oh, it's so cute. So yeah. And honestly, anytime I see their relationship in action, it's just so good. Such good like parent-child vibes, mentor-mentee vibes. It's so cute. Anyway, that's all I have to say. just happy. Just awesome.
So moving on to Trigon, we have again, same with Medalist. There's 2 episodes. It's 7 and 8 because I think I think it's the same as or I don't know if it started at the same time, but it's similar to JJK where they're a little bit ahead of everything else.
Yeah.
My main thing with these 2 episodes is that it feels, and kind of these 2 especially, but like the rest of the season as well, it feels as though they're trying to appeal to the audience that like knows the manga story. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is like they're inserting manga scenes into it, but without like the sort of not without the depth, but like
the context?
Kind of that, but also kind of because it's just like, I think my main issue with this season is really just the timing, because you only have like maximum, I feel like basically they're just like putting scenes from Trigun Maximum in there to appeal to the audience that like watch that and is excited to see them in this. And it's not that like they're out of place in this.
It just feels like nostalgia bait.
It's just, yeah, a little bit, because it's like in the manga, the reason that those certain things that they're keeping in this are so impactful is because of the amount of time that you get to spend with the characters and in the world. And it's like, you don't get that in this because you've only had, if we're talking about this season specifically, not Stampede at all, you only have 12 episodes to really form an attachment to anything. So it's kind of hard to get that sort of emotional weight out of anything when it's just like cramming together so much in such a short amount of time. But yeah, anyway, like talking about specific things that happen in these 2 episodes. Episode 7 is more of Vash on the arc with Knives and Legato and the rest of the Eye of Michael, or not the rest of them, but like he's basically like trapped on that ship, and Wolfwood is like, last episode left off on him being captured and Wolfwood going to follow him and presumably break him out, and then this episode starts off with like him being trapped there by Knives, and Legato's the one keeping him in place because he has those like I guess telekinesis is what it is, but he's just like essentially keeping him in place there. And like this, I think the part of this episode that stood out, like, I didn't mind this, because this is also, like, part of what I was saying before, where it's, like, a scene from the manga that they're just kind of throwing in here. It works, I feel like, in this a little bit, because, like, in the manga, when Vash is on the arc captured by Knives, like, they have this kind of talk with each other where, they're kind of, it's been a minute, so I'm gonna... Or it's been a minute since this episode came out, so I might not be explaining it well, but basically their conversation that they have while he's imprisoned there is essentially like Vash talking about like how Knives, in reaction to seeing what happened to Tesla, has suppressed like every emotion that he felt about it except for anger and is only expressing that, whereas Vash like understands, like he's had like time to properly process that and is not just like, I mean, his way of processing it is not necessarily good either, but he's not going the route of Knives where he's like, we've got to kill all of humanity. So he's at least not doing that, but he's basically like, his whole thing to Knives is like, only those who've truly like, only people who have like felt the urge to like commit acts of violence, I guess, can talk about like the effects that it has on other people. And he's like, you're suppressing like everything that you feel except for this violence, and you're expressing, you're committing these acts of violence in response to like what you've seen happen to Tesla. Like, it's your way of coping rather than it being like you've had time to internalize and process everything and then this is what you're doing. Like, this is your coping essentially. It's like I'm kind of probably messing that up a little bit. It's a good conversation both in the manga and in this, and I think that it works, even though it's something that they took from the manga and inserted it in here a little bit. It does work, but also, again, it kind of, like, talking about how it doesn't have as much emotional weight, it does work, but I think because they changed the way that Vash and Knives react to Tesla, it kind of doesn't, because, like, in the manga, his speech about that hits so hard because his reaction to Tesla is almost how Knives is in this, where like his first reaction is immediately like, him and Knives are still on ship 5, I think it is, with Rem when this happens, and like everybody else on that ship is still in cryo sleep. And so like they see Tesla and like Rem finds out that they know about it now, and like Knives' you don't really see Knives' reaction first, you see Vash where he's like immediately like distrustful of Rem, because like before Rem was essentially the one like taking care of them and raising them, and now Vash is like turned on her essentially and is like, how can I trust you now? Like, how can I assume that you're not gonna do this again. And it's really interesting because he also, like, he refuses to eat, and, like, Rem is, like, stubborn too, and is, like, trying to get him to eat and, like, trying to get him to do, like, anything essentially. And then he has a moment where he just snaps and tries, like, I don't know if he's it comes across as though he's aiming to kill her. He doesn't succeed, but he, like, takes, I think, a knife that she had, like, to cut an apple. I don't know if it was an apple, but to cut some type of food. Like, he takes the knife and then stabs her with it. In, like, just everything building up, like, that's him expressing, like, how messed up he is over this, and, like, that's the culmination of his emotions, and then he steps back for a second and is, like, processing what he's done. He's, like, he kind of flips and is like, oh my god, wait, I didn't...
Shock, wait, I didn't of his own capability.
Right, he's like, oh my god, wait, I didn't want to do that, actually. Like, he's remembering, like, how Rem has taken care of them, like, in that moment, the way he processed it was like, you know, he's immediately distrustful both of humanity and of her, and is like, well, how do I know that you're not going to do this again? And then he stabs her, and he's remembering, he still kind of has that, but it's more now like, oh, you know, you've shown me that you're not like them. Like, you have been taking care of us this whole time, and so he has that moment where he just kind of breaks. He's like, oh, I didn't actually want to do this. Like, gotcha. And it hits so hard, like, his conversation with Knives in the manga hits so hard because, like, in the manga, you get that first, and then Knives' reaction, he literally just, like, pretends that he doesn't remember what he saw, and it's, like, really... because he, like, passes out after it happens, and then, like, you get all that stuff with Vash and Rem talks about, like, you know, please don't give up on us, like, you can make your future anything you want it to be. And then Knives wakes up and is like, hey guys, what's going on? Like, he essentially just, like... Does he... Now, my question is it a trauma block? Or is it, like, purposeful? It's kind of purposeful. Interesting. It's a little weird in Maximum too, but, like, you get that, like, he is basically like, hey guys, what's going on? But you can, as the reader, can kind of tell that, like, he's not being truthful. Like, he knows what happened, and is, like, just... He's, like, putting on a front of, like, I don't remember it, but ultimately plotting to, like, take the ship down. And that's why that conversation between him and Vash later on the arc about, like, you know, you haven't processed what you felt, and I, not that I have, but, like, I've at least processed it better. It doesn't really hit as much in this, because none of that stuff about, like, Vash reacting violently towards Rem is in this show at all. So it's, like, it does fit a little bit, because you do get, like... Does it? Loosely. Like, it works in the sense that, like, you know, you still have the conflict between him and Knives, but it just, like, doesn't have that emotional weight to it. Kind of waters it down. Yeah. So, like, that's part of it that I liked, but, other big standout thing in this episode is, I remember, well, I watched this and then I remember, like, seeing people react to it, is that Knives in this episode, so I talked about last episode we did about how he doesn't really have any sort of reaction to, him being sort of rebuilt using other plants. He just kind of looks at them in their tanks and is like, that's rough, and then kind of moves on from it. That's rough, buddy. that sucks, eh? And in this episode, it's a little bit worse, because he, like, actively chooses to use more of them to make himself stronger. And so it's no, like, wow, because what a to be fair, he does do a similar thing in the manga, so that's not out of place, but I think the part of it that doesn't really line up with his character at all, like his original character, I'm not talking about how he is in Stampede and Stargaze, is that, like, in this iteration of the story, the plants, like the regular plants, not Knives and Vash, because they're independents, they don't have, like, any sort of agency at all, and it's, like, in the manga, they didn't really have that much agency to begin with either, but, like, when Knives does this in that story, you kind of, like, you get a little bit of, like, how the plants are feeling, I guess. Like, they don't communicate with words necessarily, but you get panels of them, like, remembering how they've helped humanity by existing, and you get kind of the sense that, like, not that they're actively working against Knives necessarily, but you get the sense that, like, they don't want to be used for this. And in this story, you don't get any of that at all, so it's just, like, Knives taking these plants and killing them essentially, and you don't see him feel anything about it, and it's like, okay. Because like in the like in the manga too, okay, he does a similar thing. Well, it's also like the way that they do it in the first place is like in the manga he like merges with them almost. It's not that he's killing them to make himself stronger, it's that he's merging their consciousnesses, long word, with his own. And so their feelings about like what he's using them to do makes more sense to like explore because like they're a part of him now, like they're not just dead. So like I get in a sense why like them having I keep calling it agency, it's not really that, but like them having their own like thoughts and feelings loosely, it like makes more sense in the manga. Yeah, makes more sense in the manga, but also it kind of does a disservice to Knives' character in general to act like he doesn't feel anything about killing them in this, because that's not how it works. Like that's not what he is. I don't know. Like that was my main complaint about that episode, is just that like that's
these episodes are getting worse.
Yeah. It's just like that's not who Knives is. Like maybe that's who he is in this now, I guess, but that
that's unfortunate.
It's like, I don't know, it's a big case of like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, where they want, because like I would be fine, and Stampede was more of this, where you have like obviously stuff taken from the original story, but like it seemed like they were going their own path with it. But in this season it's kind of like, okay, we're gonna keep a lot of stuff from the manga to keep you engaged, but we're also not keeping that, like they want to do something new, but that something new is taking stuff from the manga and making it worse. So I'm like, okay. And that's just episode 7, by the way. Episode 8 I'll try and be a little bit quicker about, but like essentially
it just sounds like it's getting worse.
Yeah, a little bit. This episode is Wolfwood versus Razlo, who Razlo in the manga was like anyway, it starts we'll get into that. It starts out with like, so last episode Wolfwood was attempting to break Vash out of the Ark, and it ends with him doing that. And so like this episode starts with him, well, he doesn't break him out, but like he infiltrates like where Vash is and then is about to, and so this episode starts with him breaking him out of the
Prison
Ark.
break.
Yeah, let's go. So he's doing that, and then he encounters Razlo, who last season, Livio is Wolfwood's like not actual, like not by blood brother, but in the orphanage that they both grew up in, they were very close, so like they call each other brothers. Livio last season died, and then in this season you get Razlo, who like it's like I guess it's like a split personality type of thing, where like in the manga it was like this too, where you had Livio and Razlo existing in the same body. Yeah.
Wait, so did they merge consciousness? Like, were they separate before, or was it always the one person? I say person, but like, you know.
Always like, okay, so that's the in the manga, it was always that they were both, like, it was always a split personality type situation where like Razlo always existed. In this, it's that Livio dies in the first season and then comes back as I say as Razlo loosely because anyway, but like that's how it starts out, where like Livio dies last season and then you get Razlo this season, where like, presumably as a result of like Conrad, because like last season he dies, but then you get a scene of Legato and Zazie tailing that I won't get into how that happens, but like, it's Legato and Zazie tailing them, and they see Livio die and like fall off the ship and are like, hey, grab him, we can use him later. So presumably like Razlo coming back this season is a result of like Conrad knowing that Razlo exists and is like wanting to make him into a weapon.
That's a big assumption.
Yeah. A little bit. But yeah, so like anyway, plot wise, like Wolfwood runs into Razlo and then breaks, like, he takes Vash and like breaks him out, and then like once he gets onto the ground he he drives the motorcycle that he has like up to the orphanage, and then him and Razlo duke it out, and that's not the whole episode, but like the thing about getting more into Livio and Razlo specifically, this is another thing where I'm like, we're losing so my thoughts on this is that I'm not gonna pretend like in the manga the representation of Livio and Razlo is like perfectly emulating like what split personality disorder is.
We acknowledge there's been issues before. Like, you know, One Piece, I love Bonchan, not the greatest representation.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna pretend like it's done super well there either, but I feel like in the manga you get more insight into both who Livio and Razlo are as like independent people. Like, Razlo seems like, yes, he's like very violent in the manga and like, well, that's kind of where that ends actually. He's just like very violent in general, but like the idea that you get is that he doesn't like he does it in order to protect Livio. Like, he's like, that's his role as this like other facet of Livio, I suppose, is that like he's Livio's protector. But in this, it's just like, he's just kind of evil guy of the week. Like, you don't get any insight into who Razlo is. It's just like, he exists to be like the fight between him and Wolfwood at the orphanage, and
That's
then
so sad.
and then and
like,
then,
in a disappointing way.
Right.
I'm not actually sad.
Like, you get, it's that, and then like that's my main problem with this, because like the other thing that happens is that in the manga, like, this fight is what kills Wolfwood. And in this episode, they bait you where, like, the entire, I mean, obviously, like, if you're a reader of the manga, you know that, like, this is the fight that he dies, so you're expecting it, but, like, even if you're not familiar with the story already, they do, like, bait it.
You know what this is sounding like? It's sounding like the Avatar live action, where they take the stuff you love and make it worse.
Yeah, a little bit.
just saying.
Like, because the other thing about, like, Livio and Razlo is that you don't get, like, Razlo as a person at all. He's just, like, a bad guy. But the way that they defeat him, so to speak, it happens similarly in the manga, where, like, Livio sort of takes over and is like, yeah, I don't need you anymore, I promise. But, like, they do that same conversation in the manga where, like, Livio is talking about, like, hey, you don't need to do this anymore, like, and he just, like, suppresses him, I suppose. But, like, in the manga, not perfect either in that scenario, but like, it makes a little bit more sense because, like, Livio understands that, like, Razlo is doing this to protect him, but, like, in Stargaze, there's none of that.
Yeah.
He's just like, you're attacking my brother, and then he's like,
that's fine.
We're good. We don't need you anymore. And it's like, oh, alright.
You're attacking my brother, but it's fine.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like, you're attacking my brother, you gotta go, we don't need any more of you, and then Razlo is, like, presumably gone now? Question mark? Because, like, in the manga, that is how that fight ends, but Razlo's not dead from it. Like, he does come back later on, and, like, him and Livio, like, kind of reckon with each other, like, hey, we're better working, like, as... Not... Like, there's still individual personalities, but we're better working towards the same thing, sort of thing. But in this, presumably, there's not really a reason for Razlo to come back, because, like, you don't get any of his emotions or feelings at all, so, like, I'm just left to assume that he doesn't exist anymore. And I'm like, okay.
I think he really did sum it up with they're trying to have their cake and eat it.
Yeah. And then, like, they death bait Wolfwood dying, but, like, they bait you with that the whole episode, like, even not as a manga, like, even if you don't know that happens, they do kind of set it up, the whole time. Like, you have like, at the end of that fight, you get, like, Wolfwood very clearly, like, run down, and, like, you know, about to die, and then, like, everybody at the orphanage is surrounding him, and Vash is there, and then, like, he kind of closes his eyes and was like, yeah, I don't remember the line, but whatever. It's like, it's a good scene, but then, like, I don't know. It's a good scene, and then, like, he just closes his eyes and you're like, okay, he's dead. And then he, like, it zooms out and then it zooms back in and he opens his eyes like, y'all are kind of loud. Like, it's funnier than that, I guess, but, like... They like, close out the episode on that, and then they zoom back into Wolfwood and he's suddenly alive, and I'm like... Okay.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know, my thing about him not dying is that I don't even mind that, really, because I think in this specific story it doesn't make sense for him to die anymore, because, like, in the original story, like, his fight with Livio is where he first realizes that, like, he wants to sort of adopt more of, like, Vash's idealism, and, like, he starts, like, outwardly expressing that, like, he believes in Vash to take down knives. And, like, in this, it doesn't really make sense because he already expressed this to Mid-Valley, where, like, And again, he doesn't work for the Eye of Michael anymore, like, whereas in the manga, when this Livio-Razlo fight happens, he still does. So it, like, kind of wouldn't make sense for his character to die. So I don't mind that he stays alive, but I also don't think that, like, the baiting of it is earned even.
Yeah. Because, like, do you really have an attachment to him?
Not really.
See?
Like, I don't think his character is... I don't think his character's bad, but I'd also, like... Well, if we're talking... Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's as good, and I think, like...
I think the fact that you're hesitating at all to say he should or should not live is a big indicator.
Well, like, even... I don't know, like, story-wise, him being alive, I'm happier about. Like, I couldn't... Honestly, to put it... I couldn't care less whether this iteration of Wolfwood dies or not, but, like, if we're talking about...
OG?
Well, not that, but, like, if we're talking about the story that Stampede and Stargazer are setting up, I wouldn't be mad if he died because I would be sad about it. It would be more like, well, there's no reason for this to happen now, so why are we doing this?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't mind that he stays alive, but I also am like, why are we baiting it happening then?
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, that's not, like... My biggest issue, really, with this episode was the Livio-Razlo stuff, because they're trying to have their cake and eat it, too. And, like, again, not perfect in the manga, but it's way worse here, because we're just, like, reducing Razlo down to, like, an evil guy, and that's not what he is.
Oh, this is not great.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, I've said this every week, still gonna watch it, but...
Yeah, but the connotation is bad.
Yeah, and I mean, okay, so, like, I'll end it here on a more positive note.
Oh.
I say more I mean, it is. Not even about, like, the story itself. The music this season is really good.
Hey, and I learned anything? If a lot of things suck, sometimes it's not the score's fault, it's just there to get paid. Because,
like, I don't think I noticed it at, like, the episode that I feel like had the most, like, standout score, and not to say that the score before was bad, but I feel like earlier in the season I noticed more that they were reusing stuff from the first one, which not bad, like, it still hit, but
I feel like a lot of shows do that anyway.
Yeah, but this most recent episode I noticed more, like, original stuff happening, particularly in the fight with Wolfwood and Razlo, and then later on, like, when you get, like, when you're expecting Wolfwood to die, like, the music throughout that scene is really, really good.
Aww.
And I think people also before have had complaints, I say people, I don't know if this is, like, a big opinion, but I think, like, season 1 versus 2, I think a lot of people have noticed that, like, the fight choreography is not as good anymore. And, like, it kind of isn't. Like, in season 1, I think the fight choreography was really well done, and in this season, I think the early fights, like, particularly with Lennif and with Mid-Valley, well, actually, not Lennif. Lennif's fight was choreographed fine. Mid-Valley's but this one, I think, Wolfwood and Razlo, that fight, I think was choreographed pretty well. Like, you get, it's not, like, you can feel whatever way you want about it. Like, it's not the same in the manga in the sense that, like, it's kind of a laser fight rather than it being a gunfight. But I don't know. I think
it's fine. It's fine. Hey, if you want good choreo, judge your head. So
yeah, exactly.
you don't need it.
I think, like, this episode, like, visually and audio, if you're just looking at it, it's really well put together. If you're not
just looking at
it. No, I hate to be a negative Nancy, but, like, yeah.
I thought it was negative. Never mind.
No, but, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the choreography, like, previously in this season, it's not that it was bad, but it was kind of like a visible downgrade from season 1, but I think this specific fight was, like, a step up.
Okay.
So that was nice. And then, again, the scoring was really good.
Kind of like the choreo just returned to form almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that was nice, and I'm still, like, I don't want to say I'm excited to see where it's going,
Curious?
but I'm wondering where it's going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe worried.
Because, like, if they keep Wolfwood alive, it's not that it doesn't make sense, but I do question, like, okay...
How are they gonna, like, use that?
Right, how are they gonna use his character going forward, and then also, is he the only one that's gonna stay alive, where, like...
Yeah, it kind of brings things into question.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So, I don't know, we'll see.
I don't know, that's fair. But, okay, there's one last thing. So, just preface why we're going to talk about it. Spring break is going to happen. Mm-hmm. So, even though you kind of didn't get an episode last week, we're still going to go on break anyway. sorry, you're not getting a bonus episode.
Yeah.
So we'll see you again in 2 weeks, but because that we're gonna, obviously this is a long episode period, but we're gonna make it a little longer because we did get one little cute little trailer for the One Piece live action, which is what we'll come back with covering season 2. It will be obviously a little bit, probably like a week or plus after it actually drops, because it's dropping over break, and sorry, we have lives. So there's that. So it won't be like as quick as other people probably, but we'll still cover it. But we did see a cute little like sneak peek. I guess it's more like a sneak peek than in a trailer, because the trailer is just a scene from what I presume to be the final product, which is them talking about going to Logtown. Yeah. And oh my gosh, I cannot get over Usopp. He's just so funny. He's so good. What did you say about it? Like,
I saw people talking about, like, before I watched the whole thing, the only part of it I saw was where Sanji's like agreeing to go to Logtown, and Usopp's like, or no, he's trying to persuade Nami to go, and Usopp's like, curse you, Sanji, curse you and your chiseled jaw and your ocean eyes. And then, like,
yes,
I saw people saying that, like, the ocean eyes bit had to be improv because the way that, like, Sanji's actor laughs at that seems way too real.
Like, honestly, I also saw people saying, like, oh, Nami would never let Sanji get that close. And, like, A, probably true. But also, B, he's not as much of a pervert. And C, you know, she's just up for some manipulation, which I found funny. But what I really like is when Nami brings up that Gold Roger got executed there, and Luffy's like hooked. You can see Jacob, Usopp's actor, just slide his eyes like go to Nami like, you did not just tell him.
Did that on purpose.
And it's funny too because even Zoro agrees, which I find hilarious because I think canonically, like in One Piece, it takes forever. Like I don't even know if it's true, but I don't even know if Zoro ever. Well, I know Sanji agrees with Zoro sometimes. I'm not sure how often Zoro agrees with Sanji. Like, it's further down the line, canonically. So I found it actually funny that this is the first time he's going to agree with Sanji towards Logtown, which I'm like, Interesting. Because I can't think of, I think the first time you actually see Zoro agree with Sanji, which is rare enough on its own, is actually when Sanji stops Luffy. From saying Usopp leave in Water 7. I'm trying to think of a time before that he would agree, and usually not, especially because you have the Davy Bag fight right before, and he just was like so anti-Sanji then, and rough work. But obviously they have the foreground to show that they can work together in Water 7 and he's lobby. But I think that's, and even then he doesn't say it, the fact that he lets Sanji kick Luffy is kind of like evidence enough that he obviously agrees. Otherwise, man would stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because man would intervene, and then you see Sanji kind of like pay that back later in the arc when Zoro's like, no, don't get Usopp, he has to apologize, and Sanji's like, wait, y'all, he's right. So you know what I mean? I think that's like the first time that I can think of. Don't come after me. Canonically, I say canonically, but like But yeah, so it's just kind of cute in that sense too. But I don't know, it just looks fun. Looks really good. I like how they did the bounty poster for Luffy flying in the background of the four before coming forefront while he's on top of Mary. Mary. Okay. Anyway, so that's where we're gonna end off. Just building a pipe for OPLA season 2, which we will cover when we get back. Might be a long episode, might be multiple episodes. Who knows? But yeah, so we'll cover it. But until then, you know, you have this really long episode, very podcasty. You know, that's what we're leaning towards more and more, just to give y'all more of our thoughts. But yeah, we hope y'all have a good, whatever. I mean, presumably spring break for y'all too. I'm gonna be real, don't know the age demographic of who's watching. But, you know, presumably you're young. But hope I have the next 2 weeks that are fun, presumably. We'll see you then. Bye.